Better give us the C chord, for God's sake.
Here we go.
If you got the great big fright and your heart give out tonight, would you be ready now to go? No, you wouldn't, no, I know. If you tripped up over the cat, or you're clogged right up with fat, and you passes out cold junk, is you ready for the great big thump? And your trike goes through the ice and you get double pneumonia twice. Is you ready for the beyond? Driving across that heavenly pond, and your bog bike takes a spill, and you finds out you is killed. Have you made all your amends? Is you prepared to start the end?
By the Lord, lift and die and stop your worry, don't start crying. By the Lord, lift and reeve and stop your swipe and stop your stealing. By the Lord, Fry and Moses, dry your eyes and blow your noses. Check your pulse, check your pills, write us checks and send your wills.
Look at that person next to you, you think he haven't got a clue. Walk on over and shake his hand, leave his rings and watch and band. Go on out and call it quits, take the 10 hit for the sticks, chuck the tube, cut the phone, tell the world that you left home, cause up till now you've had it made, living only for today. Is you ready for the great big thump, or is your soul fit for the dump? Purchase CDs or our tapes, or see your show and you'll be saved, cleansed of all your soul's disease, unless you got in freight.
By the Lord, lift and die and stop your worry, don't start crying. By the Lord, lift and reeve and stop your swipe and stop your stealing. By the Lord, Fry and Moses, dry your eyes and blow your noses. Check your pulse, check your pills, write us checks and send your wills. By the Lord, lift and die and stop your worry, don't start crying. By the Lord, lift and reeve and stop your swipe and stop your stealing. By the Lord, Fry and Moses, dry your eyes and blow your noses. Check your pulse, check your pills, write us checks and send your wills.
Now Eileen O'Grady, a sweet island lady, I'm longing to call her my own. I'll not be contented till she has consented to be Mistress Barney Malone. I met this fair treasure while walking for pleasure. She looked up at me and she cried, without any warning, the top of the morning. Then up to her I replied, come, come, beautiful Eileen, come for a drive with me. Over the mountain and down by the fountain, over the high road and down by the low road. Make up your mind, don't be unkind, and we'll drive to Castlebar. To the road I'm no stranger, for you there's no danger. So up like a bird on my old jaunting car. Now Eileen said, no sir, with you I won't go sir. Don't think it ungrateful of me. I'd rather go walking than have people talking. You'll know what the story would be. Now Eileen, my jewel, don't treat me so cruel. To treat me this way is a shame. Give over your Blarney and say I'm your Barney, and don't keep me waiting in vain. Come, come, beautiful Eileen, come for a drive with me. Over the mountain and down by the fountain, over the high road and down by the low road. Make up your mind, don't be unkind, and we'll drive to Castlebar. To the road I'm no stranger, for you there's no danger. So up like a bird on my old jaunting car. But just a year later, when Eileen felt greater, she came by and whispered to me, now Barney, my darling, 'tis early this morning, I want to discuss this with thee. I'm ready for marriage, we'll drive in the carriage and take in the view by the hill. 'Tis thoughts of a home down near the blue foam, but Barney Malone say you will. Come, come, beautiful Eileen, come for a drive with me. Over the mountain and down by the fountain, over the high road and down by the low road. Make up your mind, don't be unkind, and we'll drive to Castle Bar. To the road I'm no stranger, for you there's no danger, so up like a bird on my old jaunting car. To the road I'm no stranger, for you there's no danger, so up like a bird on my old jaunting car.
I know a man and he had this odd problem. He had a girl and she told him she loved him. Out on a date, well, things went well at first, but good went too far and got steadily worse. At first a tickle in the back of his throat, like he'd swallowed a sickle. He started to choke, his eyes got all puffy and nose started running, and he whispered, darling, let me say something. It was love at first sight, but I started seeing double. My heart was afraid, I've never had heart trouble. I wanted it right. That first big impression, I shouldn't get too close, was my first big lesson. When you come near, I feel this sensation. It's pretty clear, it's your perspiration. The dizziness in my ear needs a little explanation. Though I love you, darling, you make me sick. He fell over with pain and up chucked in his beer, and he took to the scutters and his other big fear. When he should have got amorous, he couldn't get in gear. It didn't look glamorous, he shouldn't have been there. So I'm talking to you, darling, though not face to face. I can't get too close, else I might lose my grace. But there's one thing I know, and one thing I'm sure of. I can't touch you, darling, but I can love you, sort of. It was love at first sight, but I started seeing double. My heart was afraid, I never had heart trouble. I wanted it right. That first big impression, I shouldn't get too close, was my first big lesson. When you come near, I feel this sensation. It's pretty clear, it's your perspiration. The dizziness in my ear needs a little explanation. Though I love you, darling, you make me sick. Eventually they were married, and they sorta got used to explaining to people and having excuses about things he was wearing, injecting and sniffing, and things he would carry for when he got sick in. And they got along for such incompatibility and suffered because of impracticabilities. You wonder how they got along in their beds. Well, it's the wonders of the latex from his toes to his head. Yeah, it was love at first sight, but I started seeing double. My heart was afraid, I've never had heart trouble. I wanted it right. That first big impression, I shouldn't get too close, was my first big lesson. When you come here, I feel this sensation. It's pretty clear, it's your perspiration. The dizziness in my ear needs a little explanation. I love you, darling, you make me sick. Oh, I love you, darling, you make me sick. they drove was dead and gone, and there's nothing left but the bones. Nature's working overtime to take down his old home. The legs are rotten and the back is bent, and the windows they just stare. After 15 kids it's hard to believe that there's no one living there. There was smoke from the chimney, youngsters screaming, smell of homemade bread. Spuds in the cellar and pickles in the pantry, and lots of wood in the shed. Try to remember the two-story house nestled down in the coal. 'Cause if you go back you'll probably find the spot where the alders grow. Clearly I remember now the wooden shingle box, long fully loaded clothesline and 100 hand-knit socks, a pile of slabs on the chopping block and a swing in the apple tree, shed on the wharf down across the cove and an outhouse over the sea. There was smoke from the chimney, youngsters screaming, smell of homemade bread. Spuds in the cellar and pickles in the pantry and lots of wood in the shed. Trying to remember the two-story house nestled down in the cove. 'Cause if you go back you'll probably find the spot where the alders grow. Lilac-laden summer winds leaping through long hay, curtain tongues through open windows, whitecaps on the bay. Capelin corpses neatly laid on flakes of black spruce boughs, stouts and flies and bumblebees and an old tail-swinging cow. There was smoke from the chimney, youngsters screaming, smell of homemade bread. Spuds in the cellar and pickles in the pantry and lots of wood in the shed. Try to remember the two-story house nestled down in the cove. 'Cause if you go back you'll probably find the spot where the alders grow. And if you go back you'll probably find a spot where the alders grow. Yeah, we're going to sing a song for you now, and this one is dedicated to urban duck hunters, people who leave the city and go out around the bay to hunt ducks. The song is called Hunting the Duck. This cramped city life is not right for a man. We were born to live free and to kill what we can. So it's off to the country where the air's fresh and clear, with a carton of cigarettes and 12 dozen beer. So blow the horn loudly and rev up the truck. We're off to the country to murder the duck. We pile in the truck about 6:45 and proceed to get tanked for the long weary drive. When we get to the cabin we're all brightly lit, can't remember who drove and can't tell what we hit. So blow the horn loudly and rev up the truck. We're off to the country to murder the duck. Now it's up with the dawn, though the coffee's no good, and down to the lake through the dew-spangled woods. When we get to the blind, we're as happy as boys, till we find out that Buddy forgot the decoys. So blow the horn loudly and rev up the truck. We're off to the country to murder the duck. We crouch without standing from 9 until 3, except every few minutes we stand up to pee. At last there's a duck and we fill it with lead. Can't figure who shot it, but the sucker's sure dead. So blow the horn loudly and rev up the truck. We're off to the country to murder the duck. Then it's back to the cabin for whiskey and steaks, where we talk about women till nearly daybreak. No one believes what the other guys say, but we have to talk dirty to prove we're not gay. So blow the horn loudly and rev up the truck. We're off to the country to murder the duck. Duck break. next day the ducks have gone elsewhere in flocks, so we have to shoot beer cans and tree stumps and rocks. Bill lost his gun when he fell in the lake, and Tom shot a full can of beer by mistake. So blow the horn loudly and rev up the truck. We're off to the country to murder the duck. Then it's back to the city, refreshed by our sport, drinking gas by the gallon and beer by the quart. We had to draw straws to see who has the luck to pick 2 pounds of lead out of 3 pounds of duck. So blow the horn loudly and rev up the truck. We're off to the country to murder the duck. Yes, we're off to the country to murder the duck.
All right, man. Okay. It's cool, man. It's all right.
This island of ours is a paradise lost to billions of nippers, flies and wasps. Our fathers wouldn't move west furthermore. There's a million times more in Labrador. Flies, flies, crawling and buzzing, chewing and sucking and spitting and humming. If it weren't for flies, sakes alive, we'd be living in paradise. They're crawling up your nose so you cannot breathe, and they're getting in your eyes so you cannot see. There's flies in your pants, shirt sleeves and shoes, and nipping at your bum when you're doing your poo. Flies, flies, crawling and buzzing, chewing and sucking and spitting and humming. If it weren't for flies, sakes alive, we'd be living in paradise. Blue arse flies have lots of other names, what they call around outhouses I can't say. They wouldn't bother you, but after the turds, they're into the kitchen crawling over desserts. Flies, flies, crawling and buzzing, chewing and sucking and spitting and humming. If it weren't for flies, sakes alive, we'd be living in paradise. Oh, rain on. You lying in bed, it's the middle of the night, and you closed all the doors and you turned up the lights. There's a buzzing in your ear and you swing at a fly. Miss the dirty nipper and hit the wife in the eye. Flies, flies, crawling and buzzing, chewing and sucking and spitting and humming. If it weren't for flies, sakes alive, we'd be living in paradise. There's flies of all sorts, ticks, bees, and the fleas, and little tiny buggers when you're trying to sleep. But the worst fly to get you's not one of these, but the nip from a zipper when you finish your pee. Flies, flies, crawling and buzzing, chewing and sucking and spitting and humming. If it weren't for flies, sakes alive, we'd be living in paradise. Flies, flies, crawling and buzzing, chewing and sucking and spitting and humming. If it weren't for flies, sakes alive, we'd be living in paradise. Just outside of Mount Pearl.
Tonight, near the phone, in my old word at home, there's a party for all going on. 'Tis wonderful now to sing you my song, for my dearest Bridget and John. As I sit and I play for the folks all around, and watch as they dance on the floor, each man and his wife in the prime of the life, forgetting the hardships endured. And now stands a man of verse and of rhyme. His heart is brimming with joy, and the tale that is told to the young and the old spreads laughter now all around. Some people are up and ready to move, while the music rings in their ears. They dance through the night in the soft golden light, while I think on those days gone by. house is now gone, and so are the sounds, but the memories of days live on. And I must truly say, in my own special way, I owe it to Bridget and John.
He's a Mr. Home Hardware, he's Mr. Canadian Tire. He can't wait for the mail for to pick up those colourful flyers. He's got all kinds of gadgets in the workshop that looks mighty cool. A Mr. Do-It-Yourself with an arsenal of 10,000 tools. If it rattles, he glues it. If it separates, he screws it. If it breaks off, he glue guns it on. If there's a problem, he licks it, 'cause he's Mr. Fix-It. He loves it when something goes wrong. He's got all kinds of rig-outs to keep himself physically fit. He faithfully uses them, once then in the basement they sit. Never questions or wonders if it's all just a scam or a fad. After one single workout, wants to look like the man in the ad. If it pedals, he'll try it. If it treadmills, he'll buy it. If it vibrates, he hands out the cash. When his house gets too cluttered, his wife moans and mutters. Most of it's thrown out as trash. He's got a vegetable garden that measures only 20 feet square. But he owns more garden equipment than the country of Zaire. A super high-speed deluxe garden gadgets that stand to the test. And the latest in poisons to destroy undesirable pests. If it wriggles, he'll spray it. If it slithers, he'll slay it. If it lays eggs, it's ambush or raid. He's proud of his harvest. He thinks that it's marvelous. $5 he's probably saved.
Just the Rainer and the other fellas.
Now his greatest of passions is gathering up good fishing gear to go out to the lake for one day every 5 or 6 years. He'll tell you his efforts will result in some food on his plate, but we know he will never recover the worth of his bait. If it sparkles, he'll try it. If it glitters, he'll apply it. If it rotates, he's wildly impressed. No matter what the price is, he loves those devices. Displays them all over his vest. He's a Mr. Home Hardware, he's Mr. Canadian Tire. Wake up in the morning, hear the first songbird sing. Through the wide open window, the air brings in spring. A rattle down the steady, a trickling stream. Is it real or all just a dream? Now the sun pokes a finger through a hole in the trees, and the mist from the river blows gently with the breeze. It lifts and it bellows and vanishes like steam. Is it real or all just a dream? And the smell from the goody all soaking with dew, and the green trembling aspens against the sky blue. Wood smoke from the chimney joins mist from the stream. Is it real or all just a dream? In my little log cabin where time stands still, where it never much matters what's over the hill, where I live for the moment in rapture and joy. It's just a cabin, the
river and I. Now my feet are in the river, my eyes in the clouds, by the quiet flowing waters, far from the crowds. The hills all around me are gift wrapped in green. Is it real or all just a dream? Now the heart always lives here, though the body must stroll, and the mind has to come back to comfort the soul. Where the wind is the music, the voice, the stream, is it real or all just a dream? And in the quiet of the evening, the sun sinking low, and the soft soothing colors, tall treetops aglow, I stop and ponder the mysteries concealed. Is it a dream or is it all real? In my little log cabin where time stands still, where it never much matters what's over the hill, where I live for the moment in rapture and joy. It's just a cabin, the river and I. It's just a cabin, the river. When your feet feel like they're made of stones and your bones are full of lead, and your muscles feel like they're galvanized cause the concrete in your head. When your blood flows like molasses and you can't add two and two. When the top looks like the bottom and orange looks like blue. When you feel like you're hungover but you didn't drink last night, and your eyes are like a road map and your underwear feels tight. Gravity seems to multiply, and your organs are on strike. You're in sudden death over time, and the wheels are off your bike. You need some chocolate, some creamy chocolate, some chocolate ice cream, and chocolate mousse, some chocolate cheesecake, Bavarian chocolate. Bring on the chocolate. We need a boost. We need a boost. Now they say it gives us pimples. It's addictive and it stains. It makes us fat and hyper and clogs up all our veins. It puts migraines in our noggins, and it's worse than cigarettes. But all those things are easier than having a chocolate fit. Now there's lots of medical evidence to support our point of view. It's not all psychological. Good news for me and you. It affects our serotonin, which reduces aches and pains, and does all kinds of cool things to the chemistry of our brains. Good old chocolate, dark chewy chocolate, Nanaimo snack bars, chocolate eclairs, hot chocolate sundaes, sweet chocolate milkshakes. Bring on the chocolate, we need a boost. We need a boost. Now they say we're chocoholics, and we have a legitimate beef that we should lobby government to get funding for relief. Now if you can keep a secret, just leave it up to me. I'll take the funds and build us a chocolate factory. And if life should get too heavy, we decide to end it all. We won't do it with a pistol, drugs or alcohol. We'll just take $1,000 to a nice dessert cafe, eat a dump truckload of chocolate, and do ourselves away. 'Cause we love chocolate, mouth-watering chocolate, Black Forest cheesecake, and chocolate torte. Some chocolate rum balls, sweet chocolate windfalls. Bring on the chocolate, we need a boost. Bring on the chocolate. Yeah. We need a boost.
You heard about the chopper, have you? The chopper. Huh? No. Oh, that goes back to the vet. Remember the vet? Right on. Corvette Stingray, 454 4-barrel super glide transmission. Got her in Toronto. Brought her back home. Oh, man, what an animal. Couldn't go, no, I know. Back to Gander, where I was living at the time from Toronto. 1,800 road miles. Did the trip in 13 and a half hours, including a 5-hour ferry ride. I scrapped her, eh? I took the engine, 454 4-barrel, super glide transmission, and put it in the Yami. Remember the Yami? Ah! My son, now that could go. A Yamaha snowmobile with a 454, that could go. I was up on back of Gambo Pond doing 790 miles an hour. I knows that because the cop clocked me. He couldn't stop me, though, because I was operating what we calls an off-road vehicle. He never liked me after that. But see, now the problem with the Yami and the vet was friction. You know about friction, do you? Huh? Friction. Huh? Friction is like this. You got two water slides, okay? Now, one water slide is twisty and turny, and got no water. And he got bolts stuck up to the bottom of it everywhere. And he's lined off with sandpaper. Hey? Now, compare that one, now, to another one. He's 10 degrees off vertical. He's 100 feet long. And there's water going down over that now, say about 30 gallons a second. And you're drawn back in a big old slingshot and let go. Chances are, you're going to go faster over that one than you will over the twisty, turny one. Why? Because of friction. Right on. And I got a lot of reason to be concerned about friction, boys, because I'm addicted. Oh, yeah, Kentucky Fried Chicken. Oh, yeah, if I goes too long without Kentucky Fried, I got to have it liquefied and pumped straight into my veins, eh? Oh, yeah. And the fact that the Kentucky Fried Chicken shack is in Gander, about 40 miles away from where I'm living in Glovertown, is reason to want to close up the gap a bit. My sonny boy. Then I seen it at the air show in Gander. You knows about the air show, do you? The air show is where 2,000 or 3,000 people stands around on the ground, gawking at a half dozen jet fighter pilots, see how close they can come to killing themselves. And they all goes home disappointed then when they don't. My son, when she went over, it's like a light went on my head, eh? Jet fighter. I looks at that and says, how fast would I get my chicken, I wonder? But I priced them, eh? Safe to say you're not going to haul the cash out of your back pocket tomorrow or nothing and go buy one. So I focuses on the next piece of high technology at the air show. The helicopter. Now what do you got going on? You got two things going on. You got to go up and you got to go forward. Now anything I puts the 454 in is going to go forward on her exhaust alone. As regards going up, you needs a prop. And then you need some sort of housing to wrap around it. And I had that. The old 59 Fargo, buddy. Down in the garden. Bit rusty and grody in, but solid enough. I was the best part of the summer putting that together. Oh yes, my sonny boy, you got to know stuff like center of gravity and aerodynamics. Eh? Center of gravity is like this. It means if you got 1,000 pounds of 454 engine up front, you got to have 1,000 pounds of ballast in the pan of the truck. You know, buckets of nuts and bolts and bits of scrap railway iron and copper fittings, whatever you got towed in the back, eh, boy? And the center of gravity ought to come right up through the center of her where your seat is. And then you need a prop shaft. Well, I had that. High performance, high gear ratio, high deal. The rear end of the Corvette Stingray. Woo! And she didn't come high enough, to clear the roof of the cab. So I had to put on my 2 mag rims for spacers. Now, if you're going to try this at home, make sure you got a haircut. And then I had to come up with a prop. You think that's the easy part, don't you? Yes, boy, you got to know what you're doing, because no ordinary prop is going to do it, see? No ordinary prop is going to do it because it spins so fast. You're not going out and carve one out of a birch junk or nothing like that, I'll tell you right now. Life is like that. You're looking at something all year long. You never knows what it could be used for. My son, that snowplow went up and down the road a good dozen times last winter. Wing plows. 12 feet long, about yay wide each. What a lovely set of wind scoops. Thank God Department of Highways is good for something, oh. I'm not saying where I got them. But she was looking like a pretty handy helicopter, buddy, when I fitted them onto them mag rims. My sonny boy, what an animal. See, boy, no. I was fairly uncertain as to what was going to happen when I got the whole rig going, eh? So I lashed her down to the picket fence with about 100 yards of nylon rope, reeved through the rear rim 4 or 5 times, eh, boy? And then I turned her on, I started her up. My son, what a beautiful sound, my son. Air muffler, 2 10-inch exhaust pipes, knocked 4 or 5 gulls out of the air. First thing, smack, oh, they hit the ground. Lovely. My son, I suppose I should have warned NASA or the government or something. Let them know what I was doing. Because I had her up to about 8,000 RPM when I popped the clutch. Oh, yeah. And I always did get first and third mixed up on that old standard transmission. You heard about Star Trek, did you? Remember Star Trek? Remember the part in Star Trek where he goes from nothing to warp factor 10 like that? Same thing. Only thing is, I went straight up. I was flattened out like a nipper on a windshield. My sonny boy, I went from 6 feet to 2 inches flat just like that. Me, my son, I'm going to tell you, my arsehole come right up my throat. I had to glutch to make me underwear go down over me eyeballs. And if it wasn't for the fact I got my chest muscles all built up here, oh man, I never would have been able to pick my arm off the seat and shift that shifter back down in first and slow her down a bit, oh man. And when I looked out, I'd come all the way with 2 lengths of picket fence and the wife's clothesline pole and all there's dozen sets of brass ears stapled onto the clothesline. And thank God the wife is a D cup, because every one of them was acting like a parachute and slowing me down. You seen that movie, Twister? My son, tornadoes got nothing on what this devil of a machine picked up, my son. Shovels and birch chunks and dogs and chimney bricks and mortar, my son, and shingles, and that all going around and around and around and then sucked off the ground. And then she fired out her ballast. 5-gallon bucket, my son, gone here. Bits of copper pipe and railway horn and bits of cable gone around. Oh, going around and around and around. And my son, Mose Harvey, seen it. And he jumped up on the pan of his truck and started screeching about the dreaded pain coming to all the sinners amongst us. And the cow I sucked up over in Glovertown dropped down in the pan of his truck in Gambo, and he drove us, you know, praise the Lord. And Leanne the Rackerman up in Wesleyville, 45 mile off, oh man, he called in on the open line show and says, Bill, 'tis a cross between the space shuttle and the blender. Now boys, look. 'Tis one thing to be going along, dawdling along, towing a dirty big anchor. But when the rope bust, you never shot forward, I know. I come very close. I was doing better than the speed of sound. I noticed that because I couldn't hear nothing. I was almost getting up to the speed of light. I noticed that because I couldn't see nothing. I knows I wasn't so fast at the speed of smell, though, because I knows I did a dirty big load in me pants. And my sonny boy, I'm going to tell you, go. When I figured I was handy to the chicken shack, I took me foot off the accelerator, shoved her in reverse, and my son popped the clutch again. Well, my sonny boy, look, they got a big old clear cut up behind Gander, behind the chicken shack now. And it wasn't the Cornerbrook Pulp and Paper Company that did it. If it wasn't for the 3,500 or 4,000 trees that I made 4-inch junks out of, I wouldn't have slowed down at all. I strolls into Kentucky Fried, orders a snack pack with the coleslaw. I wasn't there 5 minutes, oh man, when guess who shows up? Mr. Town Cop bursts in, he says, who owns that helicopter outside? Now, do deny it was mine would have been foolish, as I attracted a slight bit of attention getting there, eh? So I says, you want the coleslaw? But that only diverted him for 30 seconds because he eats like a gull, eh? He says, you're under arrest. I said, what for? He didn't know, eh? So I feeds him a little bit of information. Helicopter? Yes, right on, he says. For operating a helicopter without license and insurance. Oh, he says, that's not a helicopter, old man. That's my 59 Fargo pickup. He says, oh, is it now? All right, he says, you're still under arrest. What for? He says, for operating your 59 Fargo pickup without license and insurance. And I says to him, I says, the reason that haven't got license and insurance is because it is primarily an off-road vehicle. And he had to let me go on a technicality.